So we're at the part of our chair making where we do a little carving. The seat bottom is scooped out. The deepest part would be right here, and then it shallows up as it gets towards the front, and you're going to have a little scoop towards the lip of it over here. We're going to have a high pummel in the middle, and the way we're going to do that is to use an angle grinder, but with these special bits on it. First one we use is, let's see, it's called Holy Galahad. And it's basically this medieval torture device looking thing. I guess it's made out of titanium. It's just a series of spikes. And we put that on there and use it to rough out the shape we want. It's not done completely by eye. What I've done is taken a drill bit, marked off a 1-inch depth. I've drilled a series of 1-inch deep holes all along here. That's my reference, and that's the extent with which I'll go down to the bottom. I put 1/2-inch holes over here, 1/2-inch deep. So I hog it out until I've gone to the bottom of each hole, and then you just shape it as you go. I use this line back here as a reference. We begin with that bit. From there we graduate to just a sanding disc. This is 80 grit. This butternut is so soft you don't need to go much more aggressive a grit than that. And we use that to smooth it out some, and from there we go to scrapers and hand sanding. This is it's a long process. You want to get yourself where you're comfortable. You want to be able to brace your arms as you go. You probably want to wear a dust mask because there's a lot of dust flying around. You want to be breathing that all in. You probably won't get it all done in one session. Just give yourself time to shape it and work on it. You might come back to it. This is the part of the process that's more like sculpting. You just kind of eyeball it as you go and see if it looks right to you. And not to get too anatomical about it, but at points you want to set it down and actually sit on it and make sure it's comfortable to you, because you might find little dips or things that you want to put in it. So I'll set the camera up so we can do a time lapse and work away at it. So you begin work by playing connect the dots. An inch of material is a lot to remove, so you can bear down on it at this stage of the game. Later on you're going to want to feather it a bit. You kind of sneak your way up to the edges and to the bottoms of the drilled holes. I didn't mention it before. That wheel that I'm using has holes drilled in it, which allows you to see as you cut. You can sort of see the wood melt away underneath it as you go. It's kind of a neat feature of it. I tried taking a shot of that and it didn't quite come out, but that's a feature of that wheel I'm using. My carving unearthed a nasty surprise in here. There was a slight crack in here that I could see. I thought as I dug in that crack would go away. In fact, it got worse. And I can see that it goes all the way across here and all the way back here. So if I continue carving, it'll probably just flake right off. So I'm gonna have to glue that up and clamp it and let it sit before I keep going here. I've come way too far in this seat for me to chuck it out and start over again. I've glued up this sliver that wants to come off, and it's been clamped overnight. I'm going to attempt doing some carving in here and see if it'll hang on for me. The way that the cutter rotates is that the tip of it is going to push the splinter in. That's the way I'm going to cut it, so it's not going to want to flake out on me. We'll see how it goes. So So I'm pretty far into my carving, and I've discovered that that flaw was not just a crack, that it's ingrown bark, which I'm not very happy about. Ingrown bark has no strength to it at all, and that's always going to be a weak spot. And as I carved, I thought, well, if I go deeper in, maybe it'll get better, and it just kept getting worse the deeper in I went. So I guess I'm just going to have to live with that. Funny thing is, I talked to my dad this morning on the phone and described the problem I had and what I was going to do about it. And he says, "Oh yeah, in your videos I saw that crack on the blank, and I was wondering what you were going to do about it." And well, I guess it just that flaw got past me somehow. I was truly a blind man who does not see. When you're doing any major project, it just seems like there's always going to be some point where you're not happy about something. I'm hoping this is the one thing that will be my pitfall on this. So far it's gone pretty well. I think I have a shot at redeeming myself. After filming that last segment, I thought about it. I have a panel cutter for my table saw. What I can do is lay this on the panel cutter, make one shallow cut across, mill this up to the right thickness, and glue that on. It's the same tree, so the wood will be the same. And then just keep on working like nothing happened. It'll take a little time to do it, but at least I'm not stuck looking at that thing every day for the rest of my life. So there's a chance to save yourself, I guess. I got my piece at the right width and thickness, so now I can make the cut that slices off this horrible monstrosity. Here I've got my panel cutting sled. I have the piece clamped in position with just enough of a slice to remove the ingrown bark. I looked my replacement piece over pretty careful, and I cannot find where there'd be anything inside of there that would make me unhappy. Hopefully I've learned my lesson about that. So we'll just take one long slow cut, and after that cut is made, we'll run it over the joiner once and then glue this on. You can see that there's further evil lurking beneath the surface. I'm going to keep on making passes until that's gone. That's clean enough. Well, for what could have been a pretty major disaster, I think is going to clean up nicely. I've got a nice clean joint between the two pieces. I even can use these holes to clamp it on either side and run a long one up the middle. So I'll glue this up, let it dry, then put my form back on, trace it out, cut it out, and then resume carving. I think this is going to come out pretty good. They say the mark of a craftsman is someone who can cover his mistakes.